it's David Jenyns here from Melbourne SEO Services, and I've just got another client case study for you here. I've got Susan Riegg on the line, who's been going through a lot of my material, lots of different courses, and it's funny, I saw her make a few different purchases, and I thought, right, I've got to reach out to her and find out where she's up to, and we've had a few great calls, and I thought, why not get her on the line, get her to tell her a little bit about her situation and her experience with working with myself and the team here at Melbourne SEO. So firstly, Susan, thank you very much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
I mean, maybe to start, it's always good to get a little bit of an idea of someone's background. I don't know if you can tell us a little bit about the type of business that you're in and what sort of things you're working on prior coming to meet me and my team.
You bet. I am a physician. I reside in the United States. I'm here in actually Wisconsin. And I am trained in pathology, which is the practice of laboratory medicine, which I basically worked in for 15 years. I left that and started my own business. I actually have my own solo medical practice, and my area of interest and expertise is in bioidentical hormone balancing and medically managed weight loss. The focus of both of those being reduction of risk of cancer, particularly breast cancer and other chronic disease. About 2 years ago, actually almost 3 years ago, I got very interested in internet marketing of information products and started attending some courses. My first course, I think, was in February of 2010. And it just lit me up. It just was so interesting and exciting, and the possibility of being able to put information products together that could potentially help people everywhere, not just in my little community, was very intriguing to me. So I started going to multiple courses and doing a lot of online work. And over the last 2 years, have kind of done a little bit of hodgepodge, a little bit here, a little bit there, and just trying to get a grasp on the complicated world of internet marketing and how search engine optimization works and so on. It's pretty, at least for me, it's pretty complicated.
Be interested to know. I mean, how did you? It sounds like you went on a pretty big journey and started consuming a lot of info. How did you come across our material?
The first course that I took led to the second one, and the second one to the third one. I think the biggest revelation for me was finally when one of the courses led to me to Market Samurai. And that's when I heard your presentation on Market Samurai about outsourcing, and then Pete Williams' presentation on content leverage. And those two presentations made a tremendous sort of impact on me. But throughout the journey, I kept keeping track of names of people to look up on YouTube and look up their websites and kind of read their stuff and listen. I'm on iTunes all the time listening to podcasts and listening to audiobooks. So I had an extremely long list of people that I wanted to look up. And they're all very good. I mean, there's such a variety out there. Probably 20, 30 people, and learned a lot. Your name was on the list, and because of the Market Samurai course. So I remember the day that I saw your first video on YouTube, and it was actually early July, the first week in July. And I looked you up, found you on YouTube, saw that you had the 667 video. The first one, and was just hooked. And all I can say is that I think the reason I got so hooked was because it seemed like the first time somebody was explaining something in such a structured way, very comprehensive, and I guess for me, it just really helped to have the systems and the structure, and it gave me the framework in which to figure out how all of the other pieces fit into the big picture, and that's what I was struggling with the most. So the first thing, obviously, I watched quite a few videos on YouTube, and then ended up going to Competition Crusher website and purchased the Competition Crusher workshop.
Yeah.
And went through that in a period of maybe 3 days, and then just had to have more.
It's funny. I mean, that's what I started noticing. It was your name had popped up because we've got when someone makes a purchase, it filters through to our e-support centre, and Grace keeps an eye on it, and she kept on saying, "Oh, Suzanne keeps on popping up," and then I'm noticing, a few of these sales come through, and I thought, all right, I really need to get in touch. So I always like to look out for my best clients and get to hear their story and find out, how they came across the material. Once, I don't know if you can sort of tell us if you've got any insights as you've been going through the material, or even just after we started having a few sessions together, and what that's been like. Yeah, I don't know if you've got any comments on that.
Sure, I do. The first thing I did, as I say, the competition crusher workshop, and that really piqued my interest. So then I think I purchased the SEO method second, and then I went on to small business internet marketing, lights, camera, profit, and then finally the outsourcing. But every
you should get an award just for remembering all the names. That's good.
Well, you'd laugh at me because I actually have something from your website with all of those itemized. Months ago I taped it up in my bathroom and numbered them in the order that I wanted to go through them. So every time I'm getting ready in the morning, I'm looking at it, it's like, okay, now I know where I am and where I'm going. So it's like my roadmap. But every time I made a purchase, I'd get this just wonderful email from Grace, just so personal. It didn't seem like it was like canned. It was just very personal.
It's definitely her. Yep.
Oh, this is really a nice business, and it, of course, I'm looking at it and thinking I want to do that with my business and my patients, because it's so nice to have someone reach out and make that connection with you. And obviously then when I purchased the final course, which was the outsourcing profit machine, then I got contact directly from the head show. Highlight of my month for sure.
And we lined up a call. I mean, that first call that we had was excellent. I know we talked a bit more strategy, and I do feel like that's one of the skills that I've got. It's not as much about tactics, pulling in all the different tactics. It's about pulling it into the strategy and thinking of it more about the business. And it's funny, depending on how people get to know me, they might think, oh yeah, he's the SEO guy, or oh yeah, he's the outsourcing guy. But I'd like to see myself more as building businesses, and I think that's what we started talking about on our call, as far as like thinking, a few moves ahead, and as you sort of start to plan out what your strategy is going to look like longer term, just wanting to find out how valuable that's been for you.
David, I can't even describe how valuable it's been, because as I say, everything I've learned and read, and it's been a lot. I mean, this has been my sole focus of my outside learning for 2 years. So I've read a lot, listened to a lot of people, and none of them really enabled me to put things, in structure and sort of in an order of, you do this first, do this first. It was very confusing. But with your courses, particularly I think the thing that was the biggest eye-opener for me was the outsourcing course. Just really figuring out that there's no way one person can do this on their own, and the importance of bringing people in, how to find those people, how to evaluate them and bring them in, and how to delegate, and more importantly than that, how you create those systems, the spreadsheets and the checklists and so on, so that you can track. And I mean, that it just, I've never heard anybody else describe that, and it just it's how you build a business. And it's the first time I've come across it, really. So
yeah, I mean, I definitely pride myself in that, and I know we've got the SEO Method 3 coming, and we've got a few more exciting things. I really get pleasure out of going, here's how it's actually done, and that classic lead by example, and that's part of the reason we do these case studies. And I know we talked about it in your business. I said, look, as we planned it out, and I said, right, here's where you are, here's where you need to get to, what are the steps we need to do, and one of the key ones is just being someone that people can trust, and having that proof there. So, I mean,
Right.
we're going to start collecting so many great testimonials because you're doing amazing work. We just need to make sure that we document it. So, I mean, in the tail end, for anyone who's watching this this session right now, and I mean, you took that leap of faith. It sounds like you did a lot of research prior to doing that. I don't know if there's someone watching here right now, if there's anything you could say to them or to help them, or if they're considering working with myself or the team, that might help them.
My comment on that would be, I'm by no means an expert in this field, but I have spent 2 years looking at all of the lead mentors in internet marketing and SEO and so on. And when I encountered you, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not following anybody else. And maybe, other people, if they're watching this, I would just say, you could really save a lot of time by finding one person that you trust and that really knows their stuff and that can guide you. Because if you're trying to follow 2, 3, 4, 10 people, there's 100 of them out there, you're never going to get anything done. It's going to be very overwhelming. So for me, it's just been, I'm just so grateful to find somebody that I trust 100%, that clearly knows his stuff. The other thing that's really important to me and that really impressed me is that you're not just out there teaching this stuff. You actually live this. I mean, you have a previous business in essentially the Planet 13, which is
rock and roll clothing. Yep.
Selling clothing and so on. And you have a second business in an extremely competitive market, the stock market. And you actually got into SEO kind of in a sideways fashion because of how excellent you were on your own SEO for your stock market trading. And I think that's one of the main things. All these other gurus are out there, and I'm not saying any names. A lot of them are very outstanding. But I always come back to, they're out there teaching it, but have they really, had the experience of putting a real business together to sell products or to sell things online, or are they just did they learn how to do it and then just teach it? And from what I've seen, that's what sets you apart.
Wow. Oh, you're going to make me blush if you're not too careful. So thank you very much for the kind words. And I suppose in the tail end now, if anyone wants to find out more about you, I mean, maybe they've got a friend who's been touched by cancer, or if they want to find out some preventative tips, what's the best place they can go to find out more about you?
My website is www.susanriegg.com, and I'll spell that. It's SUSANRIEGG.com. It's I before E, so it's RIEGG.com. And on that website, I have my information. Obviously, at this point, that website is geared towards my local business, my medical practice, but I am going to be producing information products and books and so on that would be available globally.
Yeah.
That's the direction I'd like to go, and that's what you're helping me with. So thank you for everything.
Pleasure. And I'll put the link near this video as well if people want to find out more. And if people are looking for any help with their online marketing, getting their business found online, they can work with the team here at Melbourne SEO or myself. I suppose the biggest takeaway I got from what Suzanne shared there is just this idea, and I couldn't agree with it more, is this idea of finding one person that you connect with and trust. It may or may not be me. If it's not me, that's fine. Find someone that you just connect with and you go, yep, look, I can understand what they're saying, and then just focus in on that and follow that one person, shut everything else off, and then just start to take massive action. So, all right, Suzanne, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, David. Thanks for everything. Have a great night.